All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to take control of your health, reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this show, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressed over every single meal. So let's get into it. And like I said before, we've been doing weekly episodes about the theme of the week for our studio challenge. Now, this week happens to be protein week, right? I know this is a big talk recently in fitness and health culture, right? You see a lot of people posting about it, doctors, influencers, everyone's talking about the protein. Now, it might just be simple to say eat more protein, but today we're going to break down what it does, why it's so important, ways that you can incorporate it into your life, and then steps that you can take today. Because I'm all about action, guys. I love that you're spending time with me and listening to what I have to say about health, fitness, burning fat, and all of these things. But if we don't do anything about it, you're just consuming it. I like to call it like it's like mental masturbation, right? You're like listening to things because it gets your dopamine receptors up. It feels good. You kind of get a little bit motivated, but you're not doing anything about it. And therefore, that doesn't help me help you, right? I'm here on this planet to help people get healthier and to take control of their lives. So if we're not doing anything with this information, I would strongly encourage you start taking small steps. So that's why I like to give you some free tips, some things that you can do right away without many barriers to entry, and that we can get moving in the right direction, right? So protein is our focus of this week, and it is the focus of a lot of people when they know that they want to make a shift in their health, right? Whether it be to lose weight, burn fat, whatever it is, protein is going to be essential, right? And why protein is essential is a few reasons, right? Well, it helps build your muscles. It is the building block of building muscles, right? The amino acids from the protein go in and heal the muscle fibers and allow them to grow. It helps with your hormones, right? It helps with your enzymes and the tissues within your body. So it is a building block of all of those core fundamental, functions of our body. It supports your muscle growth. It supports fat loss and recovery, right? Those are huge things, especially if you are working out in the gym. Another thing is it controls your hunger and cravings, right? It keeps you full longer. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. So we have our proteins, our fats, our carbs, and I like to incorporate fiber in there as well. But protein is the most satiating. So therefore, when we're eating a good amount of protein, we are keeping our body fed. We're keeping our mood stable. We're keeping our energy at a heightened sense. And that's what we want from food, right? Food is fuel. Food is also medicine. And food makes up everything that we are and we know today as our physical body. So if that's the case, we want to feel good, right? So if we're eating foods that are high in protein, if we're getting enough throughout the day, you should be able to have a stable sense of energy, feel good, stay in a good mood, and not be starving and have cravings all day. It also affects your metabolism, right? So as the protein goes into your body and helps build muscle, that's helping you burn fat and calories at a higher rate. So while sitting at rest, your body is burning calories. I'm sitting in a chair, I'm burning calories. So as a human, you are burning calories. You don't have to be working out to burn calories. But my point is, the more muscle mass you have on your body, the more calories you're going to burn while at rest. So let's say you could sit on the couch all day and you'll burn 2,000 calories. Well, if a couple months down the road you put on 10 pounds of muscle, maybe you're burning 2,500 calories. Now, these are just arbitrary numbers. Don't take these seriously. I'm just giving you a generalized example of the fact that when you have more muscle mass, you are burning more calories while at rest. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about the minimal effective dose, right? I use the analogy of work all the time. Like if I told you you could double your salary and work half the amount of time, would you say yes to that? Well, of course you would. You'd be like, hell yeah, I'll make double the amount of money and work 20 hours a week. That sounds great. Same thing goes with fitness, nutrition, health, exercise, all of that. Like if I told you you didn't have to work out every single day and you could get better results, would you do that? Right? If I told you your workout could be 10 minutes instead of an hour, Would you enjoy that? I think so. But society and a lot of people out there have put us in a box of saying you must eat less and exercise more to lose weight. You must work out for an hour long, right? Meetings at work are either 30 minutes or an hour. Like where are we coming up with this stuff, right? It's all made up. So my point in saying that is if we build our muscle, we build our metabolism, we burn more calories and fat while at rest, your body is operating at a higher level. That's a win, right? Because I don't know about you, I love food. So when I eat food and it's natural whole foods, I know that my body's going to burn it and I'm not going to store extra fat because of how I built my metabolism. And that is amazing, right? It's like compound interest with money. So the question becomes, how much protein do we really need? Now, again, there are calculations you can do online. You can pull up the actual equations. There's a lot of stuff that you can do to figure out the optimal protein intake for you. But if you're listening to this show, you're probably not a scientist or someone that is ready to step on stage for a bodybuilding show. And if that's true and you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'm getting ready for a competition, that's great. But that's typically not what this show is for. This show is for people who want to feel their best, who want to live a happy life and not have to deal with aches, pains, excess body fat, and the chance of, getting a disease, right? So how much should we get? To simplify it all, I would say take your ideal weight for your height, your age, what's your ideal weight? And then do that many grams of protein. So 1 gram of protein per body pound of your ideal weight. Now, yeah, you could say for a general guideline, it's 0.7 to 1 gram per pound. And then if you're sedentary, it's half a gram per pound. Like we could do all that stuff, but who wants complexity, right? If you're someone who has been struggling with this for a while, the more complex you make it, the harder it's going to be. Now, I had a friend once that wanted to start running, and they were talking to me about, should I get the Nikes? Should I get the Adidas? Should I get this toe box or that? Should I get the technology that hooks up to my phone so that I can track my cadence and my pace and all that other stuff? And I'm like, just run. Just run. Stop it. If you have boots on, go run. If you have no shoes, go run. Like if your goal is to get better at running, just go run. And over time, maybe you look into some better shoes if your feet are hurting or whatever. That's what holds most people back, is the complexity that we hear all over the internet from every Joe Schmo trying to put their input in. And again, I know you're listening to me, and I don't claim to be Mr. Know-It-All. I'm here learning with you guys. But guess what? I have had some success with my health and my fitness and with my clients. So therefore, I kind of know what's starting to work, right? And to simplify it again, 1 gram of protein per body fat per weight that is your goal weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you really want to weigh 150 or 170, whatever it is. Try to shoot for 150 or 170. It's like that saying, when we shoot for the moon, you might land on the stars, right? That's the goal. If you start by saying, hey, let's try to get 150 in, and then you listen to your body and you're like, whoa, that was way too much or whatever, you can make adjustments from there. But at least you have a target to aim for, and you're not just blindly saying, oh, that's cool, let's get some more protein. So 1 gram of protein per your goal body weight is a good place to start, and you can always go from there. Now, again, I'm all about simplicity and ease. So how can we make it easy to hit your protein goal? Well, one way that you can do that is to prioritize protein at every single meal. I use the analogy of like getting dressed. Like let's say you have a really nice shirt that you wanted to wear and you're like, ooh, what pants go with that shirt? And then what shoes go with that? And what watch goes with that? And then you put your outfit together, but it was based around the shirt. Same thing goes with when you're making food. It should always be, what is my protein source? And then what goes with that? So if I ask, gee, hey, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? It's like, well, let's have chicken. Okay, great. How do we want to cook the chicken? Do we want to do a stir fry? Do we want to bake it? Do we want to fry it in a pan, right? What are the ways that we're going to like make that a full meal by adding, oh, we'll do broccoli with this. We'll do sweet potatoes. We'll make it into a chili, whatever it is. That's cool. But that comes secondary to what is the protein source that we're going to be having at the meal. Now that goes for meals and snacks. So things that you could do are eggs, right? You got your chicken, you got your fish, your beef, your tofu, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. These are always good ways that you can incorporate protein, even if they're snacks, right? I have been eliminating and minimizing dairy recently, so my snacks are more like beef jerky, eggs, and then protein shakes, right? But back to that, right? Another way to do it is smart snacking, right? Snack with protein rather than like chips, popcorn, candy, right? Like all those other things are just kind of like keeping your mouth busy and kind of hitting your dopamine receptor. You want to fuel your body, right? So if we can get a protein source in with the snacks, it's going to do two things. It's going to keep you feeling full until your next meal, and it's also going to allow you to hit your total protein goal for the day, right? So again, some of those snacks, hard-boiled eggs, beef jerky, protein bars. Watch with the protein bars, though. I'm not trying to be Mr., perfect or like go into the details. But if you look, a lot of those protein bars have a ton of sugar and a ton of like fake ingredients like gums and preservatives and stuff like that. So just do your due diligence. There's a lot of good bars out there like RX bars, Quest bars are decent, right? That have a low sugar content and aren't flooded with fake chemicals and ingredients. So protein bars, protein shakes, beef jerky, hard-boiled eggs are all great snacks that you can bring with you on the go and eat pretty easily, right? They're all like handheld. Another thing that you can do to prioritize your protein is to batch cook the protein. Now, I like to think of it like you don't need to do meal prep where you're doing a million different things and like you have the full meal made out and you got all the containers, and that's cool and all. It looks cool when you take pictures of it and maybe it's aesthetic in your fridge, but you get tired of that, right? Let's say you're doing chicken, broccoli, and rice, and you do chicken, broccoli, rice, you got it in 12 containers and it's in the fridge. It's sitting there in those plastic containers. It starts to taste bad after a little bit, and you don't want it to go old, and you might get tired of that, right? Unless you're someone who's like, I can eat this plain, basic stuff every day of the week. That's cool. But what I like to do is just pick the protein that you would like to do for the next couple of days or the week and cook that. So let's say it's, you're grocery shopping and you're like, I want to do steak this week. So you buy some sirloin steak and you cook four of them, you chop it up into little pieces, and then you put those into a big bowl or into individual servings in your fridge so that when you're ready to roll, you can just grab it and add other stuff to it. The reason being is because most protein sources are either frozen or take a while to cook, right? Like you want rice, you could do a heat up bag in 90 seconds and you're good. You can't necessarily take a piece of chicken out of the freezer and have it ready to go in 90 seconds. I know you can't. So if you take time throughout your week to batch cook the protein sources, then you're set. Now you're like, hey, I got a bowl of chicken in my fridge that I can put onto a salad. I can make it into a wrap. I could eat it on a plate with some other stuff. And now it becomes easy, right? Rather than saying, ooh, what do we want to have? I didn't pack anything, so now let's run to Wawa and let's grab something real quick. Like you start playing catch up, right? You don't want to be reactive in life. We want to be able to respond and to be proactive with our approach to nutrition. So batch cooking your supplements, or sorry, not your supplements, your protein. But that brought me to my next point is that you can always use supplements. I love protein powder. I don't know what it is. I love the flavor of it. I love everything because it's like eating a dessert, but it's healthy for you. And if you, again, do your due diligence and get something with a low sugar content with more natural ingredients and isn't flooded with the gums and all the extra stuff, it can be a huge benefit to you, right? So there's whey protein, there's plant-based protein, whatever you prefer, whatever agrees with your system is what I would suggest. I'm not going to sit here and tell you need to get this certain protein. If you're a vegetarian, there's vegetarian proteins. But what I will tell you is if you are getting a low quality protein, you're probably going to experience some discomfort, right? Some bloating, some gut rot. Maybe you have more gas than normal. That is either you're getting a low quality protein or it's not the right one for your system. So listen to yourself. Hey, that didn't make me feel so good. Let's adjust. right? Let's get a different protein. Let's get a higher quality. Let's maybe have a little bit less of it, right? You have to do that. And my goal here on this, not only this show, but in my life, is to help people become their own doctor, because you are the best doctor. When you get in tune with how food reacts to your body, how your sleep recovers you, you start to really understand how you feel and how you're reacting to the stimulants of life. You become the best doctor in the world, and you're going to know the adjustments that you need to make over time to just feel your best. So those are easy ways to hit your protein goals. Now, I want to talk about this first, is that you need to track it, right? All that stuff being said, you need to understand where you're at, because I might ask somebody, hey, are you eating protein? And they're like, yeah, I do a pretty good job. And then if they were to honestly track it, they're just thinking, hey, I had an egg for breakfast, I had a turkey sandwich for lunch, and then I had a piece of chicken for dinner. I get my protein in. And if you really calculated that, that's like 30 grams of protein in the day. So if you're trying to get over 100 or 150 grams of protein, you're nowhere near the goal, like not even close, right? But you think you're doing great, and you're wondering, why aren't I building muscle? Why aren't I burning fat? Why aren't I not experiencing all these things that they talk about from eating more protein? Well, the odds are is you're going based off of your emotion and not data, right? If we don't have data and we don't have a clear goal to get to, we are just never going to get to our goal, right? Ever, 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 right? Don't let that slip your mind. If you don't have a goal and it's not specific and you're not tracking where you're at, you're just going to leave yourself frustrated. So we need to use things like MyFitnessPal. You can use your notes sections. You can be as simple as literally writing on a piece of paper, hey, I had this 3 eggs for breakfast, 9 a.m. I had 3 slices of turkey at 1 p.m., like writing it down. But you need to start getting aware of what you're actually doing. Because if you don't know, then me and any other coach can't give you the correction that's necessary to make improvements, right? If you're like, hey, the scale's not budging, or, my waist isn't shrinking, but I've been having protein. And then we find out you've been having 40 grams of protein every day. And we can make a small adjustment to say, hey, all right, let's incorporate a protein shake now. That's about 20 to 25 grams of protein. Boom. Now you just made a huge improvement with a small little tweak, because you knew where you were at. If you don't, we don't know where to move. We don't know what thing to adjust, or what improvements to make, or what to take out of your life. So please do yourself and everyone else trying to help you a favor of tracking actually what you're doing. Back to the show. That was just a side note, because if you're not doing that, you're just going off of your emotion and your feelings, and most times we're wrong, right? So common myths about protein and mistakes that I see. I'm going to go over a couple of them and kind of debunk some of these things. So too much protein is bad for your kidneys. So this is only a concern if you have a pre-existing kidney disease, right? Like if you have a medical diagnosis, something's going on with your systems, then yes, I would watch out with how much like protein powder you're chugging during the day. But for the most part, if you're eating protein, your body knows how to synthesize that and digest it properly and utilize it as it may. But again, coming back to you being the best practitioner in the world, if you're eating a ton of protein and you're noticing, oh man, this is not making me feel good, I'm feeling sluggish, whatever, then you can make adjustments from there. But only then will you know, hey, if something's wrong. Your body sends you signals and symptoms based off of an imbalance in your body. So that's the first one. The second one is that you can only absorb 30 grams of protein per meal. So you might say, hey, I don't eat that many meals. How am I going to get 150 grams of protein? Well, the key is that your body adapts over time, right? So your total daily intake matters more than what you're getting in just a meal. So let's say it's a lot for you to eat 40 to 50 grams of protein in one serving. That's okay. But how can we increase it over time? So let's bring it back to our example. If you're currently eating 60 grams of protein in a day and our goal is 150, well, you're not going to go from 60 to 150 because your body's not used to that yet. It's not used to absorbing those nutrients. It's not used to eating that much. You go from 60 to 80 by incorporating that shake. You do that for a little bit. Your body's like, okay, cool. I'm getting this. I can withstand this amount of food during the day. And then you go from now you're doing the shake every day, And then instead of having one egg, now you're having 3 eggs for breakfast. Okay, small little jump, maybe 20 grams of protein there. And you do it over time so that even though you might think, hey, my cap is 30 grams of protein per serving, which it's not, you're going to over time be able to do more of that and eventually hit your goal. But the key is it's not going to happen in one day, right? We need to slowly build up our body's resilience and ability to withstand that protein. And then the last one is you don't need protein if you're not trying to bulk up. So I hear this a lot in fitness, like, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to bulk up and I don't want to be looking like a guy, or I don't need to eat that much protein because I'm not trying to bulk up. I promise you, eating more protein doesn't turn you into the Hulk, right? You're not just going to blow up out of nowhere and be this strong bodybuilder person that's stepping on stage with muscles popping out of their ears. It's not like that. Lean muscle, smooth muscle, it all needs protein, right? So protein doesn't go into your muscles like a steroid and just blow it up, right? It just fuels it. So if you think about a car, for example, and you're putting regular gasoline in there and it gets you from point A to point B and you're driving the vehicle and it's burning the fuel, putting premium gasoline isn't going to blow up the engine, right? It's just going to run smoother, right? It's going to be cleaner for the things that are going on in the car. So same thing with protein. When you eat protein, your muscles need it. It doesn't just inflame and blow up and grow your muscles on contact, right? Your body needs muscles. And like we talked about before, muscle is the biggest determinator, that's not even a word, determinant of longevity and quality of life. So lean muscle is anti-aging, it's fat burning, it's all of those things. It's amazing. So with all that being said, hopefully you've maybe jotted some things down and have a baseline understanding of why it's important and what you can do about it. So here, that's what we're going to talk about, is what you can do today and now to make some improvements in incorporating more protein into your life. So first thing, like I mentioned, is you got to calculate where you're currently at. You don't need to do any additional protein, but just get a baseline. How much protein am I consuming on a daily basis? Do it in grams. You can track it in MyFitnessPal. There's a bunch of different ways. You can even just write it down. Next is to plan protein-rich meals and snacks ahead of time. If you're mapping out your menu for the week of, hey, what you want to eat for dinner every week or what lunches you want to pack for work, let's prioritize the protein first and build the meal around it. So it's like, hey, I really want to do wraps this week. Okay, I'm going to do grilled chicken wraps. So you make a bunch of chicken, you got your wraps, and you know you're going to be bringing that to work and you're set and good to go. But yes, always prioritize the protein, then dress the meal after that. I would like you to start prioritizing the first meal of the day high in protein. Now, you don't have to wake up right away and eat it, but your first meal of the day should be more savory, right? Instead of eating a bagel or cereal or oatmeal where it's just all high in sugars, that's going to spike your insulin, that's going to spike your cortisol and your blood sugar levels, and it's going to be out of whack for the day. It's going to be hard to stabilize that. Whereas if we start our day with the first meal being high in protein, that's going to help build your metabolism. That's going to help keep you full and satiated longer. And it's just an easy thing to do, right? A swap. Instead of a bagel, instead of cereal, make eggs, have a Greek yogurt bowl, something like that. And then I would always find ways to have portable protein, right? Like I said before, get your beef jerky sticks, get your hard-boiled eggs, get your protein powders, get your protein bars. Have these in the office. Have them have them in the car if you need to, right? This way you're never going somewhere and going to be starving and you're not eating, because guess what? If you're skipping meals, it's going to be really hard for you to hit your macro intake throughout the day. So if you're traveling a lot and you're just like, hey, I was in the car or whatever, do yourself a favor, put a pack of protein bars in there, pack a shake the night before, like whatever you got to do so that you are never without being able to stabilize blood sugar, being able to get enough protein throughout the day. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. You can also like and subscribe to the show. I drop these episodes every Tuesday. So be on the lookout for every week for more tips and even some fun guests that are going to be coming up. But yes, again, do your due diligence, go hit your protein goals, and go be great, guys. I will see you next week.